Whew, haven't done this in a minute. But starting in three, two, one. Aloha and welcome back to Small Talks, where the mic is on, walls are down, and there is nothing too small to talk about. Today, I kind of wanted to get into something that I've been feeling personally recently, and I think I want to share because it's something that I felt but found a way out of. And it wasn't easy. It was not easy at all. I mean, there were a lot of really uncomfortable days, and there were days that felt good where I wasn't letting the way that I was feeling get to me. But I know that I'm a person who is an empath. I feel feelings a lot. I am very aware of how I feel, and it could be blessing sometimes because at least I know what I'm feeling. But at the same time, I feel like there's times where I feel too much because I care. But that's also a part that I'm working on with myself now. And that's why I wanted to share this situation. I'm not going to disclose any type of specific information. It's going to be a pretty generalized story, but at the same time, it's how I kind of want to present it today. So, that topic that I was thinking about and the thing that I was feeling recently is stuck. I think I had this epiphany in a certain environment where I realized, like, okay, it feels like I'm not really going anywhere. And when Gavin feels stuck, that natural reaction for me is to go somewhere else, like to leave that environment, because I know now that I can choose the environment, I can't control it. I only can control where the places that I step into. And with knowing that, it really hit me hard. Like I was like, dang, because after I started reflecting, I realized that for a while I've kind of just been biting my tongue and I've kind of just been letting things slide, just, truly just trying to take things as they are. And for a while, I was doing that. But then when I actually took the time to reflect on it, I was going against my own advice of, are you keeping the peace because you want everyone else to be happy, or are you keeping the peace because it makes you happy? And a lot of people I feel would say that that's kind of selfish, which I totally understand. When someone is talking the way that I am, it does sound a little selfish, but there's also the flip side, for me at least, where, ooh, did you guys just hear that thunder? Sorry if you guys hear some noises, some extra noises in this episode because it is kind of storming outside where it's dry where we're at in Callahan, but everywhere else it's kind of raining. But thunderstorms in Florida around what time is it? Yeah, around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. It's pretty common. But anyways, I understand how I can sound selfish, truly. But the flip side that I was talking about is I have to give myself credit because for 24 years, I always put someone else before me. Whether if I liked it or not, I always chose someone else's feelings over mine. And to choose me is not selfish, in my opinion. I respectfully do it. I will never overrule or, step on someone else's toes because of it. No. And if I do, that's truly not my intention. My intention at the end of the day is to make sure that Gavin gets through the day and is as happy as he can be. Smoothest sailing as he could. And that doesn't mean I'm avoiding anything. I am going through the day and taking things as they are, like I said earlier. But lately, I've caught myself feeling kind of heavy, like I wasn't moving anywhere. Even life around me kind of felt like it kept going. And I feel like a lot of people have felt that similar feeling, and feeling stuck, it can look like being on a pause, looping thoughts, procrastinating, or even waiting for permission. No, like waiting for permission is not something that I feel anyone should do because, I mean, obviously, kids, obviously, they need permission to do stuff, understandable. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's very important for people to be individual, like to be independent. Independency is something that I now realize that I need in my life. Like, I need myself to be independent, and I need my future partner to be independent because at the end of the day, I am trying to stop depending on someone else for my happiness. Like, and it's working, for the most part. I'm doing pretty well and I'm proud of myself. But again, like, there are times in healing where you're not necessarily going downward, but you're also not moving up. And that is okay. That is what the feeling stuck, that pause is about. That's what I'm talking about right now. And I felt that the environment that I'm talking about, that specific situation, it it bothered me, because it made me feel like it stopped my healing process as well, and it wasn't a toxic environment, but it also wasn't somewhere that I was feeling motivated to be. And that hurts because this is a place that I loved, like this is an environment that used to fuel me and motivate me. But unfortunately, I was losing that motivation and I was feeling like, not really feeling, but I was thinking of thoughts of giving up. And that's when I really had to stop because I hate giving up on anything. I know that there's a time where you have to just quit. You can't keep hurting yourself. You have to stop and you do have to quit sometimes. But other than that, I will keep fighting for whatever it is, for everything. Like, that's something about me, again, that is beautiful, where I will give my 110% into something. But now, now it's a little different. Now I am actually picking and choosing where I'm putting that energy, and it's not always a transactional thing. I don't need something in return all the time, but at the same time, if it's not something that I truly want to do, or if it's past a boundary that I've set for myself, I am totally fine with saying no now. But I think that's where people see that selfishness, but I feel that choosing yourself is about protecting your peace, not about shutting people out. That's never the intention. I mean, there are going to be people who intend that, but for me, my intention in life is aloha, love, peace, just coexisting with people. I really don't care what your opinion is. I really don't care what you believe in. You believe in and you think what you want because that's what you can control. My problem with people is when people try to control me, because something that they will learn very quickly is that I am a very stubborn person. I'm I might be sensitive, but I am also strong-headed. Because when I say something, I mean it. And I think you can really ask a lot of people around me that when I promise something, I do my best to keep that promise till I die because I don't like broken promises. There's a promise that someone has made that still till this day I'm trying to let go of. But again, some people promise is just a word and others it's that lifeline. But there is a difference between walls and boundaries, Walls keep people out and boundaries let the right people in. It's kind of like this I don't know where I heard this quote from, or like this scenario, or whatever you guys want to call it, but I heard that as a person, you never want to build walls, like it's like you are the house, that is your safe spot, and that your safe place, and you truly need to choose who you let in. So you can't just have nothing in front of your house for people to just walk in. But you also don't want a wall up, because you can't get through that wall. But if you put up a fence, you give people on the outside a peek to what's in there, but you get to choose who you let in. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because the boundaries, I think, have really changed a lot for me. It has made me feel more free, because I'm not forcing myself to do anything. There's obviously times where you do have to sacrifice things, which is very understandable. There are many situations where I have to do so. But at the same time, there are also times where you can choose yourself respectfully. And again, I always want to make this very clear. Every point that I make, I do as respectful as I can. If you're taking whatever advice you take from me and you're just doing it, like, oh, I'm gonna choose myself. Okay, now there is also rules. There is ways to go about things, and I just want to throw it out there. I'm not encouraging anyone to be a bad bee. I mean, you already are, but don't act like one. Don't act ignorant is what I'm saying. But back to how choosing yourself, it isn't selfish. It's, for example, for me, I feel like saying no to plans at first, it felt selfish, because I'm like, dang, like I don't really hang out with a lot of friends very often. So when I get an invitation, it's kind of like they know, like, oh yeah, it's a once in a very long time thing. So when I reject, I do worry about, oh my gosh, like, dang, I really did not want to go. And for a while I felt bad, but it also gave me the rest that I actually needed. So there isn't being sorry for that. You shouldn't feel sorry for saying no to plans because you're tired, and that goes with the topic of people pleasing. I used to be a very, very big people pleaser, and I feel like people would call me a people pleaser now, which I feel like is true. I love to please people, but now the difference from now and before is I used to people please to let it hurt me. Now, I do not. Well, at least I try my best to not let that happen. You know, like, it is very hard, and I am only human, and I will catch myself letting someone affect me. And in those moments, I have to really just snap out of it. Like, oh, Gavin, remember, control is only within you. They have the control of them. Broken record, I sound like. But getting unstuck, in these situations, it doesn't always take a big dramatic decision. I remind myself to focus on the step, not the staircase. And I also feel like in my specific situation, I did need to speak up. And I didn't, when thinking about that conversation, I didn't want to come off angry, because I was very angry, and I was, you know, upset. I shouldn't say angry. I was upset at the situation. And again, thinking about the conversation and trying to plan what I was going to say, it it was scary to think about entering that conversation, because I didn't want to yell. I didn't want to seem upset. I wanted to come into that conversation as level-headed as I could. And honestly, it took time, and it just took breathing and realizing that me popping off and showing that anger, it's not going to change anything. If anything, it'll show a reason, like it'll give them a reason to think that you were the problem. You know what I mean? And I just spoke up and I said my truth as respectful as I could. And I don't even think I was disrespectful at all at any point of that conversation. But in that conversation, I truly just got clarity. I had communication with someone that I really cared about. So I really appreciated that we had that conversation, and that that was my solution to getting unstuck. I know that there are many ways that you would have to go about that. And sometimes it takes micro moves, very micro moves. Micro moves matter more than no moves at all. Take a 5-minute walk, sending one text to one friend, just reaching out, or clearing just one corner, one messy space at a time. It doesn't mean these huge, like, dramatic entrances where you gotta go and make things right. Like, that's not gonna make anything better. I really took the time to reflect. I really took the time to even think about where I was wrong in that situation. And I think that that awareness, again, is very important, because without being aware of your feelings and what you're feeling, it's really hard to go about the next step, whatever it is. And that's why I feel that being an empath and feeling so much for me is such a blessing, because not a lot of people, I feel, are that aware of their emotions. Like, let me tell you a little story, okay? A couple of days ago, wow, a couple of days ago, I had an event at work, and it was honestly one of the most fun times. I love hanging out with my community. I love to get to know them, and I love to spend time with them and just create moments with them. That's something that I love to do, something I love about what I do for my job. But after it, I posted a couple pictures on Instagram, just because I loved what moments they captured. It was basically me in a Superman shirt, and I was wearing a white button up with a tie, and I was wearing these nice khakis and my work shoes and a hat. And I basically took pictures of me holding my shirt open to show the secret, Superman sign. And there was one where I was smiling, there was one I was serious, there was one that I was holding my finger up to my lips, making that quiet, like, shh, don't do it, like, don't tell nobody. Um, but I just wanted to share that because I love the pictures. The quality was great, and I haven't posted in a while. And yeah, again, I just want to look back at that moment because I felt so much. But anyways, the point is, someone from my past ended up liking it, and I don't know if it was because I worked so long that night, but it it got to me. Like, it actually affected me, even though the feelings and stuff have settled. This was someone that I cared about a lot. This was someone that I loved at one point, um and still have a lot of love for him. But at the same time, like, it really really affected me. And instead of pushing those feelings away, like I shouldn't care or whatever, I actually let myself feel it for a while. You know, I didn't want to stop that situation and that healing, like I think I needed to feel that to actually realize, like, the end, and I'm not saying that I'm holding on to anything, but that situation really, I felt stuck for a second. And I was like, why am I letting it get to me? I shouldn't care. I was getting mad at myself. I was being really, really hard on myself. But then again, I realized, like, I took a step back and I tried to reflect, okay, why am I feeling this way? And I realized again, this is someone that you cared a lot about. And at one point, you believed was the all end, you put all your eggs into that basket. And of course, it's been a very long while since there was any sort of contact, and just to see that name pop up again, it rattled me a little bit. But again, didn't stop those feelings, just let it process, and by the end of the night I was fine. Of course, it took a minute, and it felt strong, and it gave me a lot of, anxiety, but I just breathed. And I also remembered that, again, I'm a reference Vision and Wanda. Grief is just love persevering. Uh and yeah. So there is another example of a very emotional stuckness that I felt and how I got out of it. And it seems for me that my awareness to my feelings is what's helping me. So I encourage you, if you want to try my way to make yourself feel kind of unstuck, or if you want to even try to figure out how to like get out of it, I'm always open to contact. You can always like, comment, whatever. I love to see you guys interact with my videos. I really appreciate all of everything that you guys have helped me get to. I see a lot every day. There's some kind of new achievement on my YouTube or my Spotify or my TikTok, and I really appreciate it that you guys are so proactive with my account. And mahalo from the bottom of my heart, like I say in every episode. Thank you so much for the support, and I really, really hope that you guys can take something from it. Again, today, I feel it was more just of me sharing my story, and if you can get any advice, awesome. And if you don't, great for you. I'm glad that you are able to just watch this and support me. But with that being said, as always, mahalo nui loa. Thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And till next time, ahui ho. Take care. Aloha. Bye.